Hello everyone, Parashat Behar. So one of the most striking features of the Torah, it's its emphasis of love of the ger, the stranger. It's written in Exodus 23:9. Do not oppress strangers. You yourself know how it feels to be strangers because you are strangers in Egypt. So the sages went so far as to say that there is one Torah commandment in only one place. It's written to love our neighbor, but 36 times to love the stranger. Of course, we talk now what is the definition of a stranger. Clearly, the reference is to one who is not Jewish by birth. It could mean one of the original inhabitants of the land of Canaan. It could mean one of the mixed multitude who left Egypt with the Israeli. It may mean a foreigner who entered the Israel seeking safety or a life. Whatever the case, immense significance it's attached the way of the Israeli treated strangers. We are obligated, yes, to help them and to love them and to respect them. And the Torah tells us this was what they were meant to have, learning from their own experience of exile and suffering in Egypt. Yes, the same way as you suffered, you were strangers, you were oppressed, therefore you know how it feels to be a stranger. I think that this idea really resonates with me because after I completed my process, it was so important for me to be able to be there for those who are going through the same thing. Because I think that was something that was missing in my own story. I did not have an example of someone like me. I learned, I have amazing people around me, amazing rabbi, amazing teachers, amazing people who really, really helped me and guide me and helped me to be who I am today. But I did not have someone like me who can help me and that understands exactly what I'm going through. So I made myself like a mission that this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be there for those who need, yeah, who because I can understand what they're going through. So now the sages held that the word ger might mean one of two things. One was a ger tzedek, a convert to Judaism, who had accepted all its commandments and obligations. And the other was the ger toshav, the resident alien, who has not adopted the religion of Israel, but who lived in the land of Israel. Now, Behar spells out the right of such a person specifically. If any of your fellow Israelites become poor and are unable to support themselves among you, help them as you would a resident alien so they can continue to live among you. There is, in other words, an obligation to support and sustain a resident alien. Not only does he or she has the right to live in the Holy Land, but they have the right to share its welfare provisions, yeah? Because this is a very ancient law indeed, long before the sages formulated such principle as the ways of peace, obligating Jews to extend charity and care to non-Jews as well as Jews. Now, what is the Ger Toshav? Yeah, there are three views in the Talmud. According to Rabbi Meir, it was anyone who took upon themselves not to worship idols. According to the sages, it was anyone who committed himself to keeping the seven Noahide commandments. A third view, more stringent, held that it was someone who had undertaken to keep all the commandments of the Torah, except one, the prohibition of meat not ritually slaughtered. Now, the law actually follows the sages. A ger toshav is a non-Jew living in Israel who accepts the Noahide laws binding on everyone. Now, what is actually a ger tzedek? Yeah, what is the difference? The process of conversion has three parts. Yeah, accepting the mitzvot, circumcision for men, and tvila, immersion in a mikveh for men and women. So forming to the Tosfot, only the former requires a bedin. Now, the acceptance before the bedin, and in order to convert, one must be accepted into Bnei Israel by a representative of the nation, a bedin. Bedin is authorized to do so only if the candidate is willing to accept the mitzvah. Once he's told about some of the mitzvot and he accepts all the mitzvot, his obligation in them, his obligation in them is not a result of his acceptance of the mitzvot, but of his acceptance into Klal Israel. What does it mean? Actually, this is the idea behind the famous converse statement, your nation is my nation and your God is my God. Yeah, Root 116. The conversion process begins with an act of national acceptance. A non-Jew's independent acceptance of mitzvot is meaningless. Conversion without national acceptance is not conversion. So they work together. There are people who can live in Israel and not be Jewish, and there are people who have to accept also, like you cannot be Jewish, only you and Hashem. It has to come also accepting the same values and the community, and accepting Am Israel as a whole, and also being aware of the fact that you take upon yourself the whole nation. It means that you have the same destiny as everybody else. You are not an individual anymore. You are part of a clan, of a whole. Yeah. So actually, when Bnei Israel converted at Mount Sinai, they did so as a nation together, and thus the concept of new lineage does not apply. One who embraces the Torah, but is unwilling to change national identity, can be a Ger Toshav, yeah, not a Ger Tzedek. Now, of course, only if a Ger Tzedek is not really following the laws, we don't cancel conversion today. Only a Beit Din can do that, and only a Beit Din is able to make someone, like to accept someone into the nation. Now, to go back with what we were talking before about the laws of the minority people laws, yeah. The Ger Toshav legislation, in those of the earliest extent, we have to, the Rambam said that it's an obligation for us as Jews to establish courts of law for resident aliens, to allow them to settle their own disputes or disputes they have with Jews according to the provision of Noahide law. Now, the difference between this and later ways of peace legislation is that the ways of peace apply to non-Jews without regard to their beliefs or religion practice. They date from a time when Jews were a minority in a non-monotheistic environment. Ways of peace are essentially pragmatic rules that what today we would call good community relations and active citizenship in a multi-ethnic and multicultural society. Ger Toshav legislation cuts deeper. It is based not on a pragmatism, but religion principle. According to the Torah, you don't have to be Jewish in a Jewish society and Jewish land to have many of the rights of the citizenship. You simply have to be moral. Also, today, you don't have to be Jewish to be an Israeli. Yes, there are many people who live here who are not Jewish. They are Israelis. Yes, everybody who has a citizenship in Israel is called an Israeli. To be Jewish is a completely different thing. There are different things that you have to do, yeah, to be part of the nation. Now, minority rights are the best test of a free and just society. Since the days of Moses, they have been central to the vision of the kind of society God wants us to create in the land of Israel. How vital, therefore, that we take them seriously today. Even more so that today, we can give many examples of Ger Toshav, of people who are not Jewish, who live in the land of Israel, and they advocate and they stand up for the Jewish people. They feel they have the same identity on a national level, even though they're not Jewish, and they have sort of like the same values that we have, and they are the bigger advocates of the Jewish people. So the Torah tells us these people, you have to, not only the Gerim, yeah, the Gerei Tzedek that you have to protect and you have to accept and you have to help and you have to be there for them, and because they leave everything and they don't have nothing and they come as strangers, so you have to make them welcome. Even more so the people who live here and they are part of your identity. They advocate for Israel. They love Israel. They love their Jewish neighbors. Yes. So we have to be very, very careful, and the Torah is very, very clear about this idea of Gerut that we have to accept these people and help them and be there for them. Not only they love us and they advocate for us, we also have to be there for them every time they need us. I wish you a great Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom.